Making headlines, the President states that integration of high-end e-learning resources is required to ensure quality education in a geographically diverse island nation like the Maldives. The Vice President inaugurates the Food and Beverage Show, one of the largest food exhibits in the country, and the Maldives and Saudi Arabia addresses key topics within the immigration sector during a series of high-level discussions. Hello and welcome to PSM News in English. I'm the promotion of high-end e-learning resources such as artificial Maldives. He conveyed this message through a social media post on the occasion of the International Day of Education. On the occasion of the International Day of Education, President Dr. Muiz emphasized the significance of education in empowering individuals through the power of knowledge. He noted that this year's theme, AI and Education, Preserving Human Agency in a World of Automation, underscores the transformative potential of artificial intelligence in the education system while maintaining our human essence. In his message, President Dr. Muiz highlighted that in this contemporary era, it is now a necessity for technology and education to align and integrate effectively. He further stressed the importance of technological advancements, stating that his administration aims to incorporate high-end e-learning resources, artificial intelligence, and virtual reality into the education system to chart a brighter pathway for future generations. Acknowledging the critical role of education today, President Dr. Muiz expressed gratitude to educators and individuals within the educational continuum, both nationally and internationally, for their dedication to fostering skills through the education of children and youth. Concluding his message, President Dr. Muiz reaffirmed his administration's commitment to ensuring that every child in the country receives quality education that nurtures young minds, instills values, promotes creativity, and prepares them for an ever-evolving world. The administration is presently making substantial efforts to advance and enhance the technology sector. As such, President Dr. Muiz recently announced the administration's objectives to digitalize both the education and healthcare sectors. The International Day of Education is observed globally on 24th January. Vice President Hussein Mohammad Latif on Friday inaugurates the Food and Beverage Show, one of the largest food exhibitions in the country. The 8th edition of the annual Food and Beverage Show, organized by local event company Hi-Rise Private Limited, will continue in the Hurumal Central Park until Sunday. After officially opening this year's F&B show, the Vice President had toured the venue and visited several stalls. The show is aimed at promoting services and products of the local F&B industry, as well as providing a common platform for local suppliers to exhibit their range of products. More than 40 companies are participating in the Food and Beverage Show this year. The show, which was open to the public, will give visitors the opportunity to experience various products and participate in promotions conducted by various companies. This year's show features a variety of food, beverages, and kitchen appliances. The 3-day show will be held every day from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. and from 8 p.m. until 11 p.m. There are many different activities scheduled to be held during the show. There will be sessions with panelists in addition to several contests including pizza eating, cake decorating and baking, along with a host of entertainment activities. The show is aimed at wholesalers, retailers and manufacturers of F&B businesses across the country. The Maldives and Saudi Arabia addresses key topics such as information exchange, intelligence sharing, capacity building and training within the immigration sector during a series of high-level discussions. A series of high-level discussions were held between the Maldives and Saudi Arabia as part of the Maldives Controller General of Immigration, Shaman Wahid's visit to Saudi Arabia. The Controller General of Immigration is in Riyadh at the invitation of the head of the Saudi Arabian General Directorate of Passports, As part of his visit, the Maldivian Controller General of Immigration engaged in extensive deliberations with the head of the South Arabian General Directorate of Passports. As such, key topics such as information exchange, intelligence sharing, capacity building, and training within the immigration was highlighted during the discussions. Additionally, the Controller General conferred with various other officials from the Saudi Arabian government. According to Maldives Immigration, the Controller General of Immigration and his delegation gained valuable insights into the immigration process of Saudi Arabia, encompassing visa issues, border management, and skill development. The agency reported that the discussions centered on training opportunities for immigration officers, information exchange, and intelligence sharing. But with only one aircraft in operation, about 70 jobs have been created. Salim noted that the aim is to make Maldivian an airline employing only Maldivians. Currently, 95% of the company's staff are locals. Salim emphasized that the success of Maldivians' international flights will require the cooperation of multiple sectors, including Maldives Airports Company Limited (MACL), embassies, travel agents, and businessmen. Maldivian's Director of Flight Operations, Captain Ahmad Hunain, also spoke about the expansion of the airline's flights by adding more wide-body aircraft. Maldives National Airline Maldivian launches direct flights to Chinese capital Beijing after inaugurating its wide-body operations to Chengdu earlier this week. Maldivian commenced long-haul operations to China with its newest acquisition, the wide-body Airbus A330-200. The inaugural flight to Chengdu was successfully held on 21st January with 52 passengers, including 32 tourists. Chinese tourists holidaying in the Maldives had flown back home on Maldivian's inaugural flight to Beijing, with the first tourist receiving a special welcome at the time of check-in to mark the occasion. In conjunction with the introduction of the Airbus A330-200, Maldivian has announced a special promotional fare. According to Maldivian, promotional fares are 30% to 50% lower than current fare rates in China. Passengers would also get 40 kilograms baggage allowance and in-flight meals on the special fare. The new Airbus A330-200 with a seating capacity of 264 passengers offers 3 cabin classes: economy, business, and premium. The acquisition fulfills an electoral commitment by President Dr. Mohamed Muiz to introduce 2 wide-body aircraft for Island Aviation Services Limited, the operator of Maldivian. The government also plans to acquire an additional wide-body aircraft and initiate flights to European destinations by October this year. The commencement of direct flights to China is expected to boost tourist arrivals and trade between the two countries. Deputy Managing Director of Island Aviation Services Limited (IAS), the operator of Maldives National Airline Maldivian, notes that the airline's plan to expand its wide-body operations to more international destinations will create more job opportunities for locals. Maldivian has commenced operations to China with its newest acquisition, the wide-body Airbus A330-200. On Tuesday, Maldivian held its inaugural flight to Chengdu before adding Beijing to its network late Thursday. Speaking to PSM News, Deputy Managing Director of IAS, Ali Salim, noted that the wide-body operations will create many job opportunities along with enhancing the reputation of Maldives in the global aviation industry. He explained that the airline will need more pilots, cabin crew, cargo engineers, and agents, noting that even for just one aircraft, several job openings have been announced. Noting that with only one aircraft in operation, about 70 jobs have been created, Salim noted that the aim is to make Maldivian an airline employing only Maldivians. Currently, 95% of the company's staff are locals. Salim emphasized that the success of Maldivians' international flights will require the cooperation of multiple sectors, including Maldives Airports Company Limited (MACL), embassies, travel agents, and businessmen. Maldivian's Director of Flight Operations, Captain Ahmad Hunain, also spoke about the expansion of the airline's flights by adding more wide-body aircraft. He highlighted that this expansion will lead to more opportunities for local pilots. He added that a considerable number of locals are seeking jobs at the airline, but the company cannot cater to all the applicants at present. He mentioned that when they opened for interviews, over 100 pilots applied, but for now there are just 3 vacancies. The acquisition of the new Airbus fulfills an electoral commitment by President Dr. Mohamed Muiz to introduce 2 wide-body aircraft for Maldivian. The government has plans to acquire an additional wide-body aircraft and initiate flights to European destinations by October this year. Maldives Customs Service reports that the state has collected $19.52 million in trade revenues in December 2024. This amount signifies a 6.5% decrease from the $21.53 million acquired during the corresponding period in the previous year. Despite the decline in revenue, statistical data reveals an uptick in imports to Maldives for December 2024 compared to the same month in the previous year. In December 2023, imports stood at $330.15 million, increasing to $376.29 million in December 2024. This 13.7% rise highlights the intensified import activity during the reviewed period. In December 2024, the Maldives' principal sources of imports were the United Arab Emirates (UAE), Singapore, China, India, and Malaysia. The bulk of these imports consisted of food and other consumables, fuel, machinery, and electronics. More specifically, imports from the UAE amounted to $95.95 million, while those from Singapore totaled $59.99 million. Imports from China, India, and Malaysia were valued at $54.87 million, $43.76 million, and $30.61 million, respectively. In contrast, the Maldives witnessed a substantial decline in export revenues. In December 2023, the state's exports were valued at $16.21 million. However, this figure dropped sharply to $7.52 million in December 2024. The primary export destinations for the Maldives in December 2024 were the United Kingdom, UK, Thailand, Vietnam, Germany, and Japan. Notably, the Maldives exported goods worth $2.72 million to the UK and $1.42 million to Thailand. Exports to Vietnam were valued at $842,498.70, while those to Germany and Japan amounted to $648,824.52 and $324,412.26, respectively. During this period, the Maldives' chief export commodity was fishery sector products, with canned skipjack tuna leading the exports at a value of $3.11 million. A supply chain says U.S. President Donald Trump's threat of imposing a 10% tariff on imports from China is a good thing to set the stage for further trade negotiations between Washington and Beijing. Since taking office, Trump has spoken about a 10% punitive duty on Chinese imports because he says fentanyl is being sent from China to the U.S. via Mexico and Canada. However, he did not immediately impose tariffs as he had promised during his election campaign.
Anything is possible with the Trump administration, but at the moment I think it's actually a good thing that they're going after 10% to kind of set the stage of we are serious, but we also want to work something out. I think if the U.S. does not necessarily get what it needs, you will start to see a ratcheting up of tariffs until it becomes too painful and then something is done to take those tariffs away.
Even so, Johnson believed the move is unlikely to move supply chains out of China as Chinese supply chains are more resilient than their American counterparts at this point.
So 10% won't really lead to anything outside, any supply chains moving outside of China, partly because China has already done a lot of de-risking in the last 6-7 years because of the trade war. So Chinese supply chains are actually much more resilient than American supply chains at this point. If it goes above 10%, you will see more companies either shift further into Southeast Asia particularly, or drive an automation and robotics to kind of cut costs as quickly as possible.
Trump has also threatened tariffs against the European Union, Mexico, and Canada. Trump unexpectedly held off tariffs on China on his first day back at the White House and did not single it out as a threat, raising the prospect of a rapprochement as both sides look to gain from each other rather than wreak harm on an adversary. The Bank of Japan raises interest rates to their highest since the 2008 global financial crisis, underscoring its confidence that raising wages will keep inflation stably around its 2% target. The decision by the Bank of Japan to raise interest marks its first rate hike since July last year and comes days after the inauguration of US President Donald Trump, who is likely to keep policymakers vigilant ahead of potential repercussions from threatened higher tariffs. At its two-day meeting concluding on Friday, the BOJ raised its short-term policy rate from 0.25% to 0.5%, a level Japan has not seen in 17 years. It was made in an 8-to-1 vote with board member Toyaki Nakamura dissenting. The move underscores the central bank's resolve to steadily push up interest rates to around 1%, a level analysts see as neither cooling nor overheating Japan's economy. The BOJ made no change to its guidance on future policy, saying that it will continue to raise interest rates if its economic and price forecasts are realized. Muslims in the Gaza Strip hold first Friday prayer since the ceasefire. Muslims in the Gaza Strip gathered Friday for the first Friday prayer since a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas came into effect last week. Prayers were held at the heavily damaged Mohammed Nasruddin Al-Albani Mosque in Khan Yunis. Israel and Hamas agreed to a three-phase ceasefire that could bring an end to the 15-month genocide in Gaza. The ceasefire accord outlines a 6-week initial ceasefire phase and includes the gradual withdrawal of Israeli forces from the Gaza Strip and a release of hostages taken by Hamas in exchange for Palestinian prisoners held by Israel. The United Nations Human Rights Office spokesperson Tamim Al-Khitan discloses that the Israeli operations in the West Bank have killed at least 12 Palestinians since Tuesday. China and Russia declared a no-limits partnership in February 2022 when Putin visited Beijing days before he sent tens of thousands of troops into Ukraine, and in recent months Putin has also described China as an ally. Speaking from his Novo-Ogarevo residency outside Moscow, Putin waved at Xi and addressed Chairman Xi as his dear friend, saying he wanted to outline new plans for the development of the Russian-Chinese Comprehensive Partnership and Strategic Cooperation. Xi also addressed Putin as his dear friend and said relations were growing in strength and that he hoped ties would reach new heights. Trump has promised to be tough on China and to speak to Putin about ending the war in Ukraine. Putin and Xi share a broad worldview which casts the West as decadent. Roki Sasaki says he looks forward to starting his Major League Baseball career in Los Angeles after signing a deal with the Dodgers on Wednesday that will see him team up with fellow Japanese players Shohei Ohtani and Yoshinobu Yamamoto. The hard-throwing 23-year-old international free agent Roki Sasaki agreed to a deal that included a $6.5 million signing bonus and will earn a rookie salary in his first season. At an introductory press conference at Dodger Stadium, Sasaki remarked that putting on the Dodgers uniform made him feel that his journey was just beginning, which has made him feel more focused than ever. Sasaki joins the World Series champions after spending the last 4 seasons Chiba Lotte Marines of the Nippon Professional Baseball League. The 6-foot 2-inch pitcher, whose fastball can top 100 miles per hour, went 30 to 15 with a 2.02 ERA in 4 seasons with the Marines. The two-time NPB All-Star threw a perfect game in April 2022, where he struck out 19 batters, including 13 in a row, to set a record for consecutive strikeouts in a game. He was also part of the Japanese team that defeated the US in the final of the 2023 World Baseball Classic. Sasaki expressed his excitement about playing with reigning NL MVP Ohtani and Yamamoto, who he called exceptional players. He said he was determined to ensure he could stand side by side with them. Sasaki beamed a big smile when he donned the Dodgers jersey for the first time, a look he punctuated with socks that had pictures of his black toy poodle. Sasaki previously announced his intention to sign with the Dodgers on Instagram and has been making the rounds in Los Angeles since. Real Madrid manager Carlo Ancelotti is delighted with the form of his attackers after his side thrashed RB Salzburg 5-1 in the Champions League, but said that fixing his team's problems in defense was still a work in progress. Ancelotti heaped praise on his forwards, with Brazilians Vinicius Junior and Rodrigo scoring twice either side of a goal by Kylian Mbappe, as last year's winners secured a spot in the knockout stage. Ancelotti lamented the slow start Real made to their Champions League title defense after they lost 3 of their first 5 matches, which left them facing a difficult task to secure a top 8 finish and earn direct qualifications for the round of 16. Real Madrid are 16th in the standings on 12 points and have secured qualification for at least the playoffs, but would need to win their last game at Brest and rely on other results going their way to finish in the top 8. In a small workshop tucked away in the heart of Sana, the rhythmic hum of sewing machines accompanies the intricate leather work of the women working at the Heritage Preservation Center. Here, despite the challenges of Yemen's prolonged conflict, a quiet revolution is taking place one stage at a time. Amal Al-Shotari's 5-year journey in leather craftsmanship reflects her determination and skill development. She founded the Al-Amal Workshop for Leather Industries at the Heritage Preservation Center, transforming her passion into a thriving business. Through research and international training, Al-Shotari masters intricate leather techniques, producing a variety of products like jackets and laptop bags, while also training other aspiring craftswomen. Her workshop now produces high-quality leather goods that rival imported products, shifting perceptions about locally made leather. However, while Al-Shotari excels in the intermediate and final stages of leather production, she faces challenges with the initial stages of tanning and dyeing, which remain unexplored. She is seeking skilled craftsmen to train her team in these areas. The lack of local tanneries in Yemen limits access to materials, with all leather currently imported from a company in Hodeidah. Despite these constraints, Al-Shotari is optimistic, envisioning a future where her brand becomes a significant player in Yemen's leather industry. Nasrin Al-Habari, head of the Heritage Preservation Center, aims to preserve Yemen's cultural heritage while empowering local communities, especially women and families, by providing sustainable livelihoods. The art of leather crafting has been passed down through generations in Yemen, but the past decade's challenges have threatened this tradition. Through their dedication, these Yemeni women continue to support their families and preserve an ancient craft. That's it for now. Thank you for watching. Have a pleasant day ahead. Bye-bye.